Hello and welcome. Today we've got something special for you. So sit down, stick around, and enjoy.
Hello and welcome to another video. Today the video is, as you've probably read in the title already, my review of Transformers 2: Revenge of the Fallen. Now, a lot of people have asked me in the last few days, what did I think of the movie? What did I think of the movie? You know, so I've seen it almost 3 times now. And I say almost 3 times is because I've seen it 2 3/4 of a time, because at the midnight showing with the last 40 minutes of the movie, the reel screwed up. Yep, the reel fucked up. It went upside down and I never got to see the ending of the movie. So I had to go see it again the next day to see the ending, and then I went again to see it in IMAX. So I wanted to wait till I at least saw it once fully and once in IMAX before I make any sort of a review on the movie. So here it is, finally, for all of you guys, my review of Revenge of the Fallen. So sit down, stick around, and enjoy. Alright, so let's get just down to the nitty-gritty of this movie. Transformers: Revenge of the Fallen. You all know how I feel about Transformers. You all know about my love/obsession with the toy line, the cartoons, everything. I eat, sleep, live, breathe Transformers. It's what I do. Now, let's talk about the movie for a second here. The old cliche goes, be careful what you wish for, you just might get it. Now, for all of you Transformers fans out there, a lot of people out there kind of complained about the initial Transformers movie. And what they said was the following: there needs to be more action, there needs to be more Transformers, more robots. So lo and behold, Michael Bay has given you what you've wanted. People asked for it, more action, more robots. That's exactly what you fucking got. So for anyone out there complaining, this movie has no character development, this movie makes no sense, it doesn't follow anything, fuck it. Seriously, people complained. They complained, and so Michael Bay, Kurtzman, Orsi, Spielberg, all of them, they delivered. They gave you what you wanted. You wanted more robots? You have them. You can't have a shitload of robots on the screen for 2.5 hours and expect major character development. Not gonna happen. So you wanted more action? You got more action. You get more action, get more robots, guess what? You're gonna get less story. Now, that being said, did I personally like the movie? Yes, I liked it. I liked the movie. Was it as good as the first one in my opinion? No, it wasn't. Because I wasn't one of those people who complained about the fact there wasn't enough robots in the movie. I was perfectly content with what I got in the original, and I found the story flowed, you know, a lot better. Much smoother. In this one you get a lot more robots, a lot more action, which is good, not a bad thing, but it's going to cut back on the story and the storytelling. So a lot of the parts seem like they were just like spliced together, and the continuity, the flow of the movie doesn't really go off that easily. So I guess it's just like I said in the beginning, you know, be careful what you wish for, you just might get it, and that's pretty much what Transformer fans out there got. I don't think that the majority of the people seeing this movie that aren't really big into the Transformer mythos would say, oh, I hated this movie, you know what I mean? It's an action movie. It's an action blockbuster summer movie. It's about robots. Robots that fight. What do you think you're going to get? You think you're going to go out there, you're going to sit down, you're going to watch some love story? You're going to watch like Sam and Nikayla get together, you know, break up and come back together and all lovey-dovey, and he's reading their old diaries of when they were young and all that shit. This ain't The Notebook. It's a Transformers movie. It's about big fucking robots kicking ass. That's what it is. There was no super highly intelligent sub-meaning or sub-plot line to the original cartoon series either. There was none of that. Most of the episode in the original cartoon series really didn't make that much sense. It was just an idea thrown out and they just would fuck around with it for 20 minutes. That's pretty much what it was. So, I mean, take it for what it is. It's a blockbuster summer movie. And, you know, there's some points where I was disappointed too. I mean, seeing, you know, the dogs humping each other, you know, more than once. You know, seeing Wheelie hump the leg and stuff like that. It wasn't my favorite stuff to see. But I mean, it's supposed to be entertaining. I mean, and there's a lot of humor in the movie. Some people may like that, may not like that. I kind of like the humor. You know, Sam's mom, you know, love her. You know, she's just funny, period. So, I mean, for me, you know, it wasn't a bad thing. The humor kind of just, you went into the action, went to a little humor, went some action again. It kind of gave you relief, and then you brought back up into action. Now, if you saw the movie in IMAX, you'll notice that some of the fight scenes were just incredibly better in the IMAX. Most notably the wood scene, where they're fighting in the woods, and also the Devastator scene. Because the IMAX bars, which are like this, kind of the movie stops, when these scenes were going on, they would open right up. So then you got, you know, like this fucking 40-foot tall prime in front of you, you know? Beautiful. That was awesome. And the detailing was so much more higher resolution on the IMAX. When you saw a Devastator, he just looked phenomenal. You know, you could look up and down, you know, at him, like he was huge, bigger than life, which was awesome. One of the things I didn't really like about Devastator, and again, I mean, you know, what can you do? It's what it is, right? Is the fact that all the individual robots, you know, they were actually in robot mode, never got together and formed Devastator. Devastator were just the trucks got together and formed them, but they were like clones of the other trucks running around. You know, like Rampage, Long Haul, Mixmaster, all them. They're all running around separately, and then you had this big Devastator on top of it. So I guess for those of you actually fans, this kind of makes sense for Hasbro's new Devastator toy they're releasing. Because the trucks transform into the Devastator parts, but the trucks themselves don't transform individually. I guess they don't really have to. It's actually movie accurate, because those trucks never transformed individually either. Yeah, so Hasbro made it movie accurate. We were complaining all this time about having these little robots that would transform individually, but wouldn't transform together. But when everything's said and done, they never really transform together, those guys anyway. Anyways, that's just a sub little thing I wanted to mention. Like I said, overall the movie, I liked it. I gave it about a 7 out of 10. The first one probably would have been 8.5. I did like the action. The action was good. Like I said, I found it didn't flow as good. Michael Bay did some filming of some of the scenes before the writer's strike was over. You can kind of tell, because kind of some of the scenes that were cut into it, like Bumble be like racing off with somebody in them, or like all the cut scenes where you actually see the vehicles ride off. It kind of looks like they don't belong in that situation. Where the scene we just saw looks like it was filmed somewheres, and then this cut scene was filmed totally somewhere else. So that aspect of it I didn't really like. It kind of made me really look at it and say, yeah, this kind of looks like it wasn't really well put together, or when it was originally filmed, this didn't belong there, type thing. But the robots, for most parts, I should say, were pretty good. Again, not a lot of development. Didn't hear much from the new bots. You heard more from the old bots, as usual. Soundwave was cool, you know, up in space. I wish they would have digitized the voice to make it sound more like the original. I know they digitized it in the video game, which is neat. Hearing, you know, kind of like Soundwave, the old Soundwave. But I guess with the Dr. Claw voice that he had, it sounded more menacing. So I can kind of understand why they would have went in that direction as well. Some people complained about the female Transformer, the female human Transformer, the girl that's trying to pick up Sam because she was a robot. In reality, you gotta look at the fact that in a toy line, pretender Transformers did exist, where they were human-esque, but they were really robots. So they're not really going against the grain of the source material because these things really did exist. Whether we like them or not, that's totally another thing, but they did exist. Even the little mini transformers that Ravage just spews out and they go down the pipe in order to steal the piece of the Allspark shard. Those two, Micromasters existed as well. So you can't really go against the grain because theoretically all of these things did really exist in a Transformer continuity. So I guess the one main thing that I may have had a problem with, and again, it might just be me, it might be other people too, is the fact that they had the Transformers were like organics. You know, like when Starscream was playing nanny for the last 2 years instead of rescuing Megatron, when they were hatching these Transformers, the hatchlings as Starscream called them, it kind of gives it like a techno-organic thing. I don't really like that aspect of it. I never really did. Something that was prominent in the show Beast Machines, and I don't like that part of it. Like these things are like hatched and born and stuff. Like robots are built. You know what I mean? I know it's another species, and you could incorporate that in there, whatever. Originally, that wasn't the way it was. The Transformers were built, given life by Vector Sigma, the almighty computer, which could be kind of referred to like the Allspark, and then they had a life. Never anywhere was it brought into the mix that it was anything organic, and I kind of didn't like that aspect of it. The whole hatchling things, you know, Starscream running a fucking daycare. Wasn't big on that. Although it did kind of produce one neat kill scene, and probably the best kill scene of the movie, when Bumblebee tears Ravage, his skeleton, out of the rest of Ravage's body, which was really neat. But then again, it would have been a neat bony type skeleton with that ooze coming out of it if they would have been just pure robot. So the kill was cool, but I still don't like the whole techno-organic thing. I guess out of the whole movie, my biggest beef would be the techno-organic thing. That would have been one thing that I would have probably left out and gone a totally another direction with it. Just by robots making robots, pretty much. There could be intelligent design in the back of it in the beginning. There could be an alien species that would have built the first Transformer. That could have been like a Primus, you know what I mean? Fine, but I don't like the whole thing. Transformers hatch, like, what are they? Just like, did they just grow inside this tube? Are they hatched? Did a female like Transformer like give birth to this shit? Like what? Like all we see is them like in cocoons. It's like a fucking really bad version of an Aliens movie. So I really didn't like that aspect of it. But everything else, the fighting and everything, the special effects were good. So the movie's about a 7 out of 10. I mean, don't go there sitting down expecting, especially if you're a Transformers fan, you're gonna see stuff, a lot of it, and you're gonna be like, okay, this is kind of like what I remember as a kid. You know what I mean? It's not really in that direction. It kind of goes in another direction. But then again, it's a movie. It's a slight adaptation of a intellectual toy property that Hasbro owns. It's nothing. It's not supposed to be exactly like it was back then. It's supposed to be something different. The first one flowed better, in my opinion. This one flowed a little less better. It kind of looks like it's all over the place. Some people say it's too long. I don't necessarily find it's too long. Maybe for a theater going experience, you know, you gotta pee and shit, you can't pee, you gotta watch the movie. That kind of stuff, maybe, but I mean, if you look at the way, it seemed almost as if it was rushed. Not rushed in production, but the movie itself was just rushed because it just spanned out so quick. So I don't know. I mean, theoretically, it could have been longer almost because it looks like they rushed a lot of stuff into it. But then again, it would have been too long for the people who thought it was long already to begin with. What can you do? You're damned if you do, damned if you don't. So again, a 7 out of 10. The hardcore Transformer fans may like it a little less. People who've never really followed anything Transformers other than the first movie will probably get a good kick out of it. And I know that Amy enjoyed it. My wife Amy, she enjoyed it thoroughly. She laughed a lot during the movie, and she had a good time there. So to see on Rotten Tomatoes, this movie being rated what, in 30s or in the 20s now, I can't remember. It's a little disappointing because I mean, it's kind of like, what do you expect? It's an action movie. It's not based on storyline. It's just based on action. It's a Michael Bay movie on top of it. Like, the people who go see this, and you see the comments that say, you know, not enough story development, you know, not enough character development, all that. What do you think you are going to see? You're going to see a movie about robots that transform to kick ass, made by Michael Bay. You're not going to get character development. Like, have you seen a Michael Bay movie? What you're going to go there to see are big fucking robots kicking big fucking ass. And that's pretty much what you got. So I leave it up to you. Please post a comment, tell me what you thought about the movie. And until next time, guys, later.